So, as a new Christian at the age of 24, I approached my journey with Jesus via legalism. It was all about me and it was all up to me. You know, God did his part, right? He died on the cross, he paid my sin debt, gave me my ticket to get to heaven, and that was sealed. Now it's up to me, and it's all about me. And so I became what we often talk about as a professional selfer. And so I relied on my self discipline in Bible study and prayer and church activities uh, and all those things I use to define myself as a godly Christian woman. So the more I did and the better I was at those things I did, answered that question, who are you, Yolanda, as a Christian? And so failure was not an option there. I had to succeed in those things. Now, God was the central focus of my life. He always had been since I came to faith in 1979. However, I did not live my life dependently on God. I had no idea what that looked like. Nobody around me was doing that. I just did what everybody else did. And so I depended on myself and my own resources. And I was deceived into believing that it was working until, guess what? It didn't work anymore. And surprisingly, it was about 17 years. Of course, you know, I wanted to commit suicide by that point. I was so exhausted, so burnt out, so disillusioned, and the Christian life was not working for me. Well, guess why? That wasn't the Christian life. That was Yolanda trying to imitate the Christian life. So that is precisely why I needed brokenness. I needed what I call the gift of brokenness, and it truly is a gift. Now, I didn't know that then, and it really took me a long time to come to that realization that brokenness is a gift. And for those that maybe don't really understand how we use the term brokenness, in a lot of other circles, people talk about brokenness as, you know, you're broken as a person. You can't function. There's something wrong with you. Well, that's not at all how I mean to talk about brokenness. I'm talking about brokenness as God bringing us to a place where we lose confidence in living independently of Him. That's what brokenness is about. And brokenness is actually the antidote for a life lived independently of Jesus. Brokenness is the process whereby we lose confidence in our own ways of getting our needs met. And by needs, I'm talking about what God created us to have. And the things that we have to have can only be found in Him, and that's love, security, and significance. Those things cannot be found anywhere else but in Him. But for me, I was looking to Christian ministry and my children and my husband and my friends and my own performance, all those things to get those three needs met. And so you can imagine a life of doing that. Well, certainly as a Christian for 17 years of doing that, it was exhausting. Those needs are what I call life, that are only found in God, is where we find our identity. And so when we're looking elsewhere to get those needs met, we're looking elsewhere for an identity. And when I talk about identity, I'm talking about how you answer the question, who am I? And if we define who we are by anything other than a child of God and righteous and holy and pure, then we've missed it. We're looking outside of God for our identity. We're never going to place our confidence in Christ and um, uh, for Him to live in us and through us to essentially be life for us if we don't come to a place of utter brokenness where we absolutely believe and know that we can't even brush our teeth without dependence on Christ. So, and I know that's a little exaggeration, but truly, everything that we do should be done by dependence on Christ. It's not so much what we're doing, it's an attitude. Brokenness is often a painful journey. And it was for me. It was and probably will continue to be. I don't profess to, I'm not suggesting here that my brokenness journey is over. And I wouldn't dare consider that because I never know what is coming down the pike. I never know what my life is going to look like a week from now. And I don't profess to be at a place in my life where I've completely lost confidence in my flesh. I don't know that I have. But it's brokenness frees us to live the Christian life as God intended us to do so. So when you think about your life and you think about the disappointments and the losses and the challenges that you've experienced, and all of us have, every single one of us. Ross, I know you and Joy have your own. Some I'm aware of. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that I have no idea about. These are all a part of our brokenness journey. They aren't necessarily created by God, but God is the great economist. He takes full advantage of the fact that we live in a fallen world and it's evil. And we have flesh and everybody else has flesh. And so we're going to encounter difficulties, circumstances, pain, suffering, death, and these things He will use to further brokenness or the loss of confidence in living self-sufficiently.